What to do, YouTube? What's up, internet? It is kicking with you. It is kicking with the crew. I'm your host tonight, Zach, and with me is my co-host Trev. Two-man game tonight, little pick and roll, whatever you want to call it.
Kobe and Shaq, baby.
Yeah, Kobe and Shaq. We're just gonna give you guys, some love and talk some Colts football, around the league football, because it's pretty boring and no one wants to talk about training camp until training camp actually happens.
Yeah, look, the camps are going on, the OTAs are going on. People are showing up or not showing up. It's not the most interesting time for NFL football, but we're getting there. We're getting around the corner. These are the dark days for the sport, but we're gonna make it. I think Zach might have froze up a little bit, but as he gets back on there, yeah, obviously all of our other hosts are out right now, either busy with moving or work or just general life stuff going on. But hopefully we'll be working with the full crew again soon. So go ahead and drop a comment if you're watching live, man, and let us know how you're feeling. Let me see if I can pull Zach back in here.
You back?
Yep. Sorry about that, folks. I think this is bad the whole time, but yeah, some
technical difficulties.
But we're here. Here on Colts football.
We're here to talk about Colts football. Hey, it's frustrating, but hey, we made it. So Trev, we off camera we were discussing salary cap, obviously, because Trevor Lawrence just got paid. And I don't know about you guys, but I think Jacksonville definitely overpaid for an average to above average Gardner Minshew, in my opinion.
Yeah.
255 million is absolutely ridiculous for a dude who, in my opinion, isn't that good. But
yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that, like, obviously whenever he plays against us, he looks like he's worth $275 million. But across the whole regular season, every stat, every game film you go through, he's like above average. He's a good quarterback. He's not almost $300 million quarterback though. Like, this definitely felt like a reach. Definitely felt like an overpay. I'm not mad at it. I'm happy if that's how they want to spend their money. I I don't see Trevor Lawrence leading them to a Super Bowl anytime soon. But
No.
I think what you're saying beforehand, look at it, it's like 40% of their cap space. That's insane for a quarterback who's, I mean, he's a starter. He's a good quarterback, but 40% of your cap space good? I don't know about that one.
Yeah, in no way, shape, or form do I think that building a football team of any kind, whether it's the Colts or whatever, I don't think you can actually be competitive enough and afford to pay one guy that much money without going back to the negotiating table every single year, like Mahomes does for the Chiefs. I feel like every offseason, dude goes and readjusts his contract so they can sign guys. And then what's the point? Why not just sign like a bunch of 1-year deals instead of paying guys, like a 5-year crazy amount of money? Like if he's your guy, just say that and then don't discuss the terms of the contract unless there's legal rules or something that say that you have to. I mean, I don't know.
And what's crazy too is like these last couple of years specifically, there's been this rush of like trying to be the highest paid at your position, highest paid. Anyone that has even a decent season and they're on their contract year, you can bet they're asking for the highest paid of their position, whether they deserve it or not. I mean, look, I'm all for guys getting their money. I'd love to get even a fraction of that money. But from the team stance and from the franchises, it's crazy that you can allow one play, even the quarterback, as important as quarterback is, obviously, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not winning. But it's insane to think one guy is worth that much of your cap space, because then you look at what happens, and what's happened to many teams across the league is it's not sustainable when you just break it off for one guy, and then you have to let players, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, that you can't afford to pay that much, but they're worth that much. You have to let them walk and then try to draft a replacement. So it's this endless cycle of this one quarterback who is a starter, maybe not a superstar, getting all the money in the world, and they just have to constantly readjust and bring new guys in and let really good players walk because they can't pay them because all the money goes to the guy throwing the ball.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, you're right, Trev. It comes to, is this guy really worth that? Like it's a put up or shut up type of moment. And I agree with Colts fan Anton here. He says T-Law didn't deserve that. Hell no, he didn't.
Dude, come on.
No way. I joke and kid with the guys in the group chat. I literally think he's just a Gardner Minshew type with a pedigree. I mean, that's literally what it comes from.
The numbers are comparable.
Yeah, they're comparable. Like people say, look at the stats. Minshew's a gamer, not a stats guy. He hasn't won him diddly poo. What, one playoff game? I think it was. I think it is.
Lawrence?
Yeah, Lawrence. So, yeah. One playoff game. I mean, that's as much as Kirk Cousins. So, if anything, it just says that their agents are incredible.
Yeah. No, especially coming off of the year where he didn't play his best because of injuries, obviously. And, credit to him. He toughed out injuries when he probably should have sat. Not coming at him as a player, but it's crazy to think you can put up super average numbers and have health concerns and get broken off for $275 million. That's outrageous.
It's a wild time to be alive. It's a wild time to be. I mean, it is what it is. 58 TDs to 39 picks. You're right. Gardner Minshew has.
It's not great.
But Minshew has, these are awesome.
Significantly less.
59 TDs to 24 picks. Literally the same quarterback, plus or minus picks, the same quarterback. But that's here nor there. I just think that Jacksonville last year offensively had so much talent and they didn't do jack with it.
Yep.
And as DeMarco would say, sometimes the quarterback gets blamed, takes way too much of the blame, but that comes with the position. I mean, he is the keys to the Ferrari. Do not either put it in drive and you drive it the right way, or, what are you doing? And right. I to me personally, I wouldn't have paid him that much. I mean,
no, nowhere near it, man. maybe 6 figures less than that. Like
Case Keenum with
275 is just insane. Yeah, I mean, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Like if we go down the line of ranking quarterbacks, he's probably just spitballing it, probably in like that 13, 14 range. If he's fully healthy, playing well, playing lights out, maybe he's breaking into the top 10, maybe, but he's not even a top 10 guy. So him getting that kind of money is crazy.
I have him he's in the 20s for me, dude. Like He's hired. I have Jared Goff higher. I mean,
Yep.
there are certain guys who he's in that Jared Goff tier before Goff had a crazy couple of years in Detroit. If that makes sense, because I think they're eerily similar. Like they're both first overall picks. Differences.
Disappointing so far.
Yeah, disappointing so far. Like when Lawrence is on, sure. But I feel like every time you watch Lawrence, unless you're a Colts fan where he kills you for 400 yards, he's going to have like 3 games all year where you're like, damn. But beyond that,
a lot of just super average games. You look through his numbers, he'll have games with like 150 yards, a pick, no touchdown. Next week, 180, 1 touchdown. Like it's nothing blows you away, which is crazy too, because as you said earlier, they have really good weapons.
They have incredible weapons.
You look through the title, Ingram, Ridley, Christian Kirk played way out of his mind for no reason since he got that big payday from him. They have the personnel, but just statistically speaking, and even just looking through the film, Lawrence isn't lighting it up with how his paycheck is saying he is right now. Like he's not on that level. Again, unless you're watching him play against the Colts, where he just slices us up, goes 22 for 25 with 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. But that's neither here nor there. He just really doesn't like us.
Now, sticking with other AFC South news, I don't know if you heard this, Trev. I think I shared it. You hear what our boy Anthony Richardson said about playing in the NFL is easier than playing in college? All right.
I did.
All right. I've not ever came down hard on my man, but this is where you need the PR guy to tell him to shut up. Bro, don't say that. Even if it's the truth, don't say that, because don't leave it open for interpretation. And while I do believe he is right, like as long as he does his job and he's accountable to his teammates, to the organization and himself, and doing the best job he can, the Colts will be successful. That I agree with. I don't argue. But I just feel like there's something you can't say that, because then you're all like, well, how do guys bust out the league?
Yeah.
What happens if it doesn't work out for AR? Then people are going to be like, remember when he
that
said
clip
the
will live
NFL
forever.
was, we don't want that. We don't want that.
I think the issue is, because initially I saw the same headline everyone did, right? Colts QB Anthony Richardson says the NFL is easier in college football. And of course, it's in like a interview, like he's sitting with several guys talking, and it's like a 10-second clip taken out of context. So if you listen to the rest of the clip, he kind of explains, he's talking about, it's because everyone in the NFL is so talented that there's less pressure on you to be the man, and you can kind of just be yourself. So it made sense what he was trying to say, but I agree, like PR guys should have stepped in and be like, hey, how you just said that and how you left it. They're going to run with it, dude.
Don't leave yourself open for that interpretation, because hopefully it does work out. But if it doesn't, that will
look good. Yeah.
That will be on replay forever.
And I could understand people wrote, because if I would have saw, CJ Stroud or fucking Will Levis saying that shit, I'd be doing the same thing, clowning on without even watching the rest of the clip, right? It's just what we do. But I mean, he was coming from the right place. I think it just didn't sound good when you just take that clip, which isn't his fault. It's people running with a clip and not the whole context. But yeah, it's not a good look, man. You kind of set yourself up there to be a meme. So hopefully he delivers on it.
He has to. He has to.
Yeah. Otherwise, the memes are going to go crazy this year. I thought this was easier, every time he throws a pick or whatever.
Right. So, again, not, in my opinion, if that's the worst thing he does this offseason, that's a pretty good offseason.
It's fine, dude. Yeah.
Like, I ain't mad. Just, stay healthy, AR, and go to the playoffs. That's my only expectations. So.
Yeah. I honestly, I mean, not to dive too much into like season predictions and stuff, but I do think that's a fair ask. I know the guy hasn't played much. He played 5 games and he was in and out of each one of those games. I don't know how many games he played first quarter to fourth quarter, if any, without getting pulled out. I just one. That's right. But I believe it's a fair ask. And I also saw a clip of him talking about like he does feel prepared going into his sophomore season. He doesn't feel like a start. He feels like he learned a lot watching Minshew, learning Steichen's offense. He said he's way sharper on everything that Steichen wants to do. So I do think it's a fair ask that as long as he's healthy, he has the weapons, he has the O-line, the defense is solid, hopefully better. Coaching staff's good. Like everything is set to go for this team. So if he comes in and shits the bed, like this one's on you, buddy.
He is the straw that stirs the drink, in my opinion. Like we saw how different the team was without him last year, and the team was damn good last year.
Yeah, winning
without
team.
him. Yeah, without him. I mean, I can't say damn good because we didn't make the playoffs, but
compared to the previous year,
compared to with Matt Ryan, night and day better.
Yeah. Nathan says AR will throw for 3,000 yards. Yeah, I think that's realistic, man. I know our last episode we had. I do apologize, by the way, for us last week. Nobody was able to make the show, man. So if you're looking forward to listening to us last week, I apologize. Just a busy time. But the week before that, we were talking about some stat predictions. I think we had AR around like 3,500 to 3,800. I feel like as long as he's fully healthy, 17 games, that's a realistic stat line for him.
I keep my throwing expectations low for him just because I feel like, and
he's going to run a lot.
I'll be the first to tell you this. He's only gotten better as a thrower since I've seen him in college and then now and so on and so forth. But I truly feel like he's still not a finished product throwing the ball. Like, I truly believe that's going to come in time. But I think if he has like 2,500 yards throwing, but I definitely think he can get 1,000 yards rushing, 1,200 yards rushing. That's within his realm. He's, in my opinion, he's that good of a runner that it's certainly doable. And I truly feel like early on, that running is what's going to set him apart and make the throwing easier. So I kind of actually have him a little bit under, throwing the ball. I think I have him at 2,500 yards. And then, I think it was 21 touchdowns, 7 picks, 11 picks, and then rushing the ball. It's like 1,000 yards and 10 more rushing touchdowns. So,
I think he's somewhere in that realm as well. I'm a little more optimistic just because of the weapons we have. But then you think too, we showed a lot of it last year with how heavy Shane wants to run the RPO. But it was clear that we were a little bit limited with Minshew back there, who did well in his role, but that's not his play style, right? So I think we're going to see a lot of just the rushing attack being the focal point of the offense, which is good. Obviously, that's Colts football. That's what we want to do. We got Jonathan Taylor back there. He's the best running back in the league. We want to give it to him and let him eat, right? So obviously, when it comes to statistics, that's going to have an effect on how much AR is looking at. But just talent-wise and what he's capable of doing, he could clear 3,000 easily. I don't think it'd be any problem for him. Paul in the comments says, "What do y'all predict Adonai Mitchell's going to do?"
I keep this one. Zach? I'll go. All right. Listen, I think the Colts got a legit number one receiver in AD Mitchell. I think he's going to replace, Pittman Jr. here. Not in a Colts uniform. I think Pittman Jr. is going to be, a Colt for the rest of his career. But I'm talking like the dude who defenses have to worry about. I really think it could be, not this year because it's an adjustment year. Receivers hard in the league. But his sophomore season, I could see 1,000 yards. This year, I just want to see like 700 yards and 2 touchdowns. If he does what Josh Downs did last year, that's a successful rookie campaign.
I'm good with that.
Like, I'm completely happy with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it very much depends on like what kind of role he's asked to fill this year. But I do expect him to be a heavy part of our offense, right? I don't know if he hits 1,000 yards this year. I've said before that I believe he has the potential that if we decide he's like the focal point of our passing attack, that he could have a rookie of the year campaign, something like you saw Jamar Chase do, guys like that. He could be in that same realm because I think he's that talented. Whether he actually does that, I think statistically he's going to be around probably like 600, 700 yards would be great. But I see him around like 600 yards because I think Josh Downs has an increased role. I think he's going to get a lot of those yards. And then obviously Pittman is Pittman. But as far as his ceiling goes, dude, Adonai Mitchell, I agree. He's a legit number one guy in 2 to 3 years. And I don't think Pittman is going to get any worse, you know what I mean, before he gets, in his 30s. So we have 2 legit number one guys for the next, 5+ years. So a lot to be encouraged about with Adonai Mitchell, man. It's got to be the steal of the draft, right?
Defensive rookie of the year. I really think he's going to be like Dwight Freeney with like 10 plus sacks as a rookie because he has arguably the most perfect situation around him. He can come in and be a third down specialist immediately, and he has an advanced rushing repertoire. I mean, you hear the guys talk about it on ESPN, all the talking heads. Like if he's not a double digit sack guy this rookie year and or a high pressure rate type of guy his rookie year, in my opinion, the Colts are failing him because he is shown on tape he's that good. I mean, immediately, I think he wins Defensive Rookie of the Year without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree a little bit, only as far as like statistics go. I agree with everything you said about talent. And just this dude's first step is like the quickest, most explosive guy that you can see running off the edge. And then obviously all the weapons he has, his spins, his cuts inside, everything. Like he's incredible, and he's so fast for how big he is. So there's no question of talent. He was the first defensive player drafted for a reason, right? Yeah. What I see from him as far as like rookie of the year campaigns go, I don't know how much he'll be in that. I expect him to have very high pressure rate, but I have him around like 6 to 7 sacks his rookie year. And I've said it before, just because of how often we rotate our edge rushers, and we have a lot of guys that have something to prove on the edge. So I wouldn't be surprised if like early in the year, you don't see a ton of him. I think you see him on third downs. I think you see him getting important snaps. But it's still going to be a little bit of that edge, right? That curve to like learn what he needs to do. I really expect him to take off kind of mid-season, and that's where we'll start seeing him getting some sacks.
All right, so our other host who's not here with us, I think he's moving. I don't know. He's a busy man.
Good luck, bro.
DeMarco says down season was great, but we need way more than 2 TDs from AD. I agree, but I just think there's so many weapons and not enough ball that I have to temper my offensive expectations compared to defensive expectations, because I fully expect, like Trev said earlier, JT is going to be the bread and butter. So he's getting at least, he's getting his touches. Pittman's going to get his touches. And then I truly feel like it's going to be, hey, we got to get Downs involved. We got to get Pierce involved, and we got to get AD. So out of those three, it's whoever has a hot hand. And if AD gets a hot hand, hopefully he proves me wrong. But I really think beyond JT and MPJ, no one else. I mean, we're still not even talking about tight ends, and everyone's super hype about Jelani. And again in training camp, in training shorts Olympics. So if dude can stay healthy, there's another weapon. Like, I just think there's not enough ball for the amount of weapons AR has. So offensively, I temper my expectations. That's a good thing, but that's just me going into it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good problem to have, right? When there's just not enough ball to go around, as opposed to just one guy like going Calvin Johnson and getting every statistic in the book because he's the only option you have. So these are good problems to have for the Colts, where there's just so many weapons that need to get fed. I think what will also affect him as far as like his numbers go is when we get to the red zone, I expect a lot of RPO, a lot of just feeding Jonathan Taylor, and then where the wide receivers get involved, I expect a lot of sweeps and like things of that nature. I don't know how much I expect us to be throwing in the red zone. We'll do it. I'm not saying we won't, but I think our focus will be those RPOs, those option plays, and getting AR rolled out and making plays on his own. Because we saw in the little bit that we got from him last year, that's where he makes his money in the red zone, knocking guys over, spinning away from him, all that shit. Like, that's where he's great. So I expect a lot of that in the red zone.
I don't really mess around with fantasy a whole lot. I mean, I do, but I wouldn't know a whole lot. But just the given Colt situation, receiving for me is Pittman and nobody else, because running the ball it's Jonathan Taylor and Pittman, and then everyone else is too risky for my blood. Yet I have to see more consistency in the offense first.
I do think if you're a big fantasy guy, I love your profile picture, by the way. Thanos Heisenberg. That's hilarious.
That's quality.
If you're a big fantasy guy, I would look for Josh Downs late. I don't think anybody's going to draft him. I don't think people outside of Indianapolis even know how good that kid looked last year. Like there was no noise about him. And he had 500, 600 yards, a couple touchdowns. Like he played his ass off. And I think he's only going to have an increased role this year. So Josh Downs might be a really good late round pick that nobody even gets. Could be like a fantasy steal if he produces like I think he will.
Yeah. Colts offense is going to be hard just because so
many ways it could go.
So many different ways they can go. And Steichen doesn't do defenses any favor because dude's a mad scientist when it comes to plays. So
yeah, we'll be running some wildcat random pistol scheme bullshit that like no one's ever seen, but it'll work. It'll somehow get a touchdown to
bust out
Eric
that power
Gray,
team.
you know, like the fourth string running back, you know, catching a 30-yard touchdown, but it'll work. It'll work.
Yeah,
so even better than I realized.
Yeah, he had 700 yards last year, almost 800. And,
I think that's a great value pick that just strictly fantasy wise, nobody even knows, man. Nobody was talking about this guy. I felt disrespected for him. I'm like, he should at least be, you know, honorable mentioned in like the rookie of the year campaign. I know he probably wasn't. Obviously, he wasn't doing what Puka was doing, but he's in the conversation, you know. But not a word about him. But we know how good this guy is. I think too. I'm very interested in seeing. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is Jonathan Taylor. I'm really interested in seeing who steps up as like that second running back, because we know how Shane operates. Sometimes there'll be two running backs on the field at the same time in that pistol offense I was talking about earlier. Yeah. But just seeing who steps up and takes that role. We have a couple guys that could do it. I'm really excited about getting Eric Cole back healthy because I felt like the small bit that we got to see from him as a rookie was encouraging. I think he could really be a guy that contributes this year as well.
I like Evan Hall. I'll correct you.
Sorry, Evan Hall. My bad.
You're fine.
See, that's how little we play.
I'll correct you. I like Hall. I do think he has. I can't say he has the inside track because he's been hurt, but he had, or before the injury, he had the inside track. He looked like he was another dude that Ballard found.
Yeah.
I really like Trey Sermon. I just like how he's straight ahead, hard nose. He's a lot like JT, but without that burst. That what makes JT special is his ability to see a hole, hit the hole, and then cut back. Where Sermon is see hole, hit hole, run down, run hard. As long as he doesn't fumble and the fumbling issues stay away, I really think Sermon is a quality number 2 option who, again, even with Evan Hall, can provide, you know, someone to lean on when, hey, we got to have it. And JT's not out there, so we're not throwing to, no offense, Tyler Goodson, but we're not throwing to Tyler Goodson, you know, in the flat. We have a more reliable option out there on the field, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Sermon ended the year really encouraging, really consistently the last like 6-7 weeks, I think. Early in the year, he was kind of concerning. Obviously, you see a couple of fumbles, you get worried about that. And that's been an issue that's followed him through his career. But I do agree that with the way he finished the season, he looked really strong. So going into this next year, he's probably in the lead right now as far as RB2 is concerned. I do think Goodson could make some noise too, though. I know you mentioned him there. And obviously, a lot of Colts fans weren't happy with how the season ended, but that dude works his ass off. Right. I think he's got a quick step too. I don't know where he fits in there, but I think there's room for him to fit.
It's hard for me because I like him. I like him because he's got a little bit of that jitterbug, that shiftiness.
Yeah, shifty, that's the word.
He can do what he does. Is not sexy, but it's necessary. So he plays an important role. I just don't know where he fits because Ballard, literally running back and linebackers, the dude finds him.
Yeah. So, it's tough to carve out that role when you got so many guys ahead of you. So I do think he's probably 4th right now as it stands. But I mean, there's room. And last year, I believe we carried, 4 guys most of the year. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the roster again and even getting some snaps potentially.
Do I think everyone is overrating the Texans, or is it fair? I'll say this. Offensively, they're legit just because C.J. Stroud's legit. I know it's only been one season, but, like, quarterbacks don't come out hot and then regress. I mean, Stroud had a better rookie year, and I know Mahomes didn't even play and then won an MVP and his technically first year as a starter or whatever the hell it was.
Got 50 touchdowns.
Yeah, Mahomes is up here, but I think CJ Stroud has that potential. So offensively, I don't say how you can overrate their offense, but to me, again, it's what they lost a lot on defense, and have they done enough to supplement losing on defense? Because to me, the Texans season comes down to their defense. Offensively, they're going to put up 35 plus points a game because you can't cover every single freaking receiver they have. And then they went out and added a quality a little older, but a quality running back in Joe Mixon from Cincinnati. And then, they went out and re-signed Dalton Schultz, who was
you got Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, they added Stephon Diggs, who, and they improved that offensive line. So, again, to me, it all comes down to the Texans' defense. Can Will Anderson take that next step? I forget who they're – Petrie? Is Petrie that safety?
Yeah, really good player.
Will Petrie continue to be, that dude? And has a corner Singleton, whatever his name is?
Derek Stingley.
Yeah,
LSU
Derek Stingley, yeah. Has Stingley solidified himself as a legit corner in the league? And if 2 out of those 3 answers are yes, then yeah, Houston is going to win the division.
Out. Yeah.
Unless they themselves piss an opportunity away.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. To answer the question, I don't think they're overrated. No, I think they are that good. But I don't think it's fair to assume they're going to win the division. No, I don't think so whatsoever. Just going back to their defense, they have a solid defense. Nothing that really blows you away except for a couple players you named there. I do think Derek Stingley is a big part of that. And he's got questions to answer, man. He's been in the league, I think, 2 years now. Yeah. He was incredible at LSU. I watched every game. Huge fan of the guy, except now he's a Texan, so I can't be a fan of him until he leaves Houston. But great player in college, and you just haven't seen that same level of play since he got to the league. And now would be the time. Now is kind of his year to be like, is he a lockdown corner? You saw flashes of it, since he's got to the league, but not consistently. So I think that's a big part of it. Obviously, Jalen Petrie is incredibly talented back there. He's a weapon at safety. And they have various guys that are really solid on defense. They just haven't completely put it together. Offensively, though, look, they have the names. They have the on paper, but it doesn't fucking matter. The games are played on Sunday, right? You can write down all the names in the world. It's not going to produce them 13 wins. I see us being very competitive with them. I think we're both around 10 to 11 win teams. So I don't think they're being overrated so much. I think they are a good team, but I don't think it's fair to say they're going to win the division. I think they have a dogfight ahead of them, and they'd be crazy to assume they're just going to walk it.
Yep, I agree with this, Paul. We did beat them. But I don't like taking any opponent and just flat out disrespecting them, even though I always say the Texans are the Colts' younger brother, little brother.
They are.
Sometimes you got to let, little brother beat up on older brother only to humble him. This is one of those times where we're neck and neck, and it's going to be a dogfight. But I respect at least what they do offensively.
I fully expect that we'll split the series with them. I believe week 1 is against them. Is that in Houston or is that
home?
Okay, yeah. I expect us to win week 1. I do.
I have a split. So we'll win in Houston. They'll beat us in Indy.
Either way, I agree. It's going to be a split. I think the second time we play them was week 6, week 7.
Week 8.
So yeah, before even you really hit the midseason. So we faced them twice early, and then I wouldn't be surprised if they end up being who we're matched up against in the playoffs, But yeah, I fully expect that we split the series, and they're going to be in a dogfight until the last week for the division.
They do have one of the hardest schedules. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that on top of obviously an AFC South that is massively improved. DeMarco, I mean, are they being overrated? Maybe a little overhyped, but I can't sit here and say overrated because they earned that. You earned the right to be talked about, especially when your quarterback came out and played electric last year.
Yeah.
If AR was healthy, you could flat out say, yo, hey, the AFC South has two of the most young, electric quarterbacks in it, and they both played that way from start to finish of the season. So
I think overhyped is it's probably a better word than overrated, because I think they're a good team, so they're fair to be rated as a good team. But overhyped for sure, dude. There's been way too much talk about the Texans. And I think it's largely because CJ goes on every fucking podcast known to man, except for this one.
Well, come on, this one.
Yeah, and just talks like he's a fucking seasoned vet, and the dude's played 1 year. But he talks like he's Tom Brady. Like, it drives me up a fucking wall. We could do an entire hour on that alone, because I don't know why he speaks like he's, a 35-year-old 4-time MVP. It's like, dude, you played 1 year. You made the playoffs. Good job. You didn't really do shit. Like, why are you talking like this? But that's neither here nor there.
What did my dad say? Good news. My dad's a Bengals fan. He has been his entire life. So he said, good news. All you Cincinnati fans disguised as Colts fans. T. Higgins signed his franchise tender. No, Colts aren't going to pay T. Higgins. I mean, I think the young receivers that they have, that'd be pointless. I do think he ends up in New York as a Giant at season's end, because they're going to want someone to go opposite of Malik Neighbors. So
that'd be a potentially nasty pairing there.
That's
get him out of the AFC. That's all I'm worried about.
Yeah.
No, he's a great player. I know they had a whole lot of drama about. I don't super follow the Bengals, obviously, but I know they had a lot of drama about his contract. So
he wanted something like Pittman got, and Cincinnati basically laughed at him.
Yeah, I think that's fair though. Like, they're comparable players. They got drafted around the same time. They produced like similar statistics, similar results, other than 2022, obviously. But yeah, they're kind of in the same kind of conversation at receiver. So I don't think it would be crazy for him to ask for that kind of contract. He's just not the number one, so he kind of loses that leverage, I guess. But
plus, they're going to pay Jamar Chase next year, so
yeah, that's going to be another historic contract, I'm sure.
He's on the out. Like, Cincinnati's got to pay Jamar, because if they don't pay Jamar, I think Joe Burrow's going to, hold out and say, trade me.
Yep. That's how to go.
They're Oprah hyping Houston because the media was crapping all over them for years during the Watson situation. I mean, that's fair.
I mean, it's not. This is the one time I'll play devil's advocate. Like, the whole Deshaun Watson off-field issues. I mean, I don't really feel like it's fair to shit on Houston for that. That's an entire franchise that really didn't have anything to do with it. Now, obviously, they fucking sucked after they after he sat, and then they traded him, which led to them getting CJ. So
I mean, Groper Cleveland did that to himself. Like,
I'll sit on Watson all day.
Yeah, he did that to himself. I can't blame Houston for that, but I don't think moving on from a franchise quarterback as sudden, as quick as you want, i.e. we saw that with Andrew Luck, did them any favors. However, they handled their situation a lot differently compared to Indianapolis. So one could say how they handled it might be more ideal than how the Colts have handled it. But you look back on that, you don't worry about that.
Yeah, they didn't go through a Jacoby Brissett.
They didn't go through 8 years of purgatory or whatever the hell it was, man.
Matt Ryan, Gardner Minshew, but we made it. We're through the revolving door of quarterbacks.
8 years of purgatory.
It was kind of a tough time, but you know
Never
what?
Again,
we're here now. We're gonna win the division this year because of it. So cheers to that.
Hopefully.
So let's see. We've talked about the Texans a little bit. We talked about the Jags a little bit and laughed at them because they paid generational money to a non-generational quarterback. How are we feeling about the Titans this year? What do you think, Zach?
Bro, I'm really, believe it or not, the only issue I have, and this is hard for me to say because I feel like it's the Colts' biggest rival, Tennessee. Like, I know everyone's all like, oh, Houston. For me, always growing up, I've hated Tennessee more than any other team in our division. And I really honestly like everything they've done this offseason except the hiring of their head coach.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be terrible, but I think that they've actually really helped out Will Levis by adding – they went the old route at receiver You know, they put Hopkins and they went out and they stole Ridley for whatever amount of money Jacksonville didn't want to pay him.
Right.
So I still think he's got, you know, some good years left in him. And I really like what they've done just overall. I think that that team there's a lot of talent on that roster. They just weren't well coached last year, as crazy as that sounds under Vrabel. Like, Vrabel's a very good coach, but I kind of feel like his message got stale. And so
sometimes that can happen too. Like, you can have a good coach, but if you're hearing the same shit and you're not getting results, which for the last couple of years, it's felt like they're just kind of in this recycling bin of just a pretty solid team, but never a real contender. So yeah, I mean, it does happen. Do you deserve to be fired? I don't know. For one, I'm glad he's out of the division and we don't have to deal with him anymore. Like, he's a good coach.
Yeah.
Now you say you like him a lot. Do you feel like you like, just as a football fan, obviously fuck the Titans, like none of us want to do, but as a football analyst, right? Do you like them in the sense that they're doing the right things to be a competitive team, or do you like them like they can compete this year?
I think they're going about it the right way. Whoever their GM, that Rock Carthon, whoever it is, I think they're going about it the right way. Like, do I think Will Levis is the future? No, I don't. But do I think that they are giving him every opportunity to prove to him? Yes, because they are not allowing, well, he has subpar talent to sit here and dictate this. They're either going to say he can play or he can't. So if he can't play, then we can use next year's first-round pick and go get a guy who can. And then defensively, I know it's a questionable pick, but we ran all over Tennessee last year. So when they went out and they addressed their defensive line, that certainly helps. And then corner, you go out and obviously you essentially made Colts fans look like clowns when you go out and get L'Jarius Sneed after Sneed thought for sure Sneed was going to be a Colt. He ends up being, you know, a Titan. So you pair that with, I forget, Cheeto Ochiwe from Cincinnati, whoever it is, they signed. Yeah, who was a stud for Cincinnati for the 4 years he was there. Yeah. So you've essentially, I just really like how they've done it. They went and saw weaknesses and addressed weaknesses and then said, yes, we have a young quarterback, but we're going to build around him in a way to see if he can play or not. Problem is their head coach is a Callahan, and I truly think they're like one of them snake-bitten coaches who
just can't get it done.
You just can't get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. That just felt like a questionable hire, especially like, I don't know if you heard the owner or president, like whatever title she has. When they first fired Vrabel, the whole thing was like, well, we want to go ahead and get him out so we don't have to wait and potentially miss the first round of hirings so we can get the coach we really want. Okay, that makes sense. There's no way the rest of the league was looking at hiring fucking Callahan. That was not anybody's guy. You know, that was such a out of left field hire. I don't think anyone was chomping at the bit to get Callahan. So
the Colts interviewed Callahan last year. Now the question is like, the only coordinator I know that everyone wants, but he doesn't want to leave, is that Johnson dude from Detroit.
Yeah, so, Ben Johnson.
Yeah. So
I feel like that's weird too, though. Like, obviously, and not to cut you off, but obviously, like, if you're an offensive coordinator and you have a really good offense, yeah, it makes sense. You're going to get interviews. But when you're an offensive coordinator, you have a really good offense, and you have, I don't know, fucking Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd. Need I go on? Like, no shit, they have a good offense. You know, so it's like, how much do you weigh that? I don't know. I don't know if this guy can actually coach or if it was just the weapons he had. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Well, that's what I agree with this Thanos Heisenberg guy. What he has to say. Can Callahan coach and elevate? Because I assume Callahan's calling the offense. Like, I don't know if Tennessee has an offensive coordinator.
He's got to be.
Like, so is he the type of coach that elevated Joe Burrow? That essentially built that offense around Joe Burrow?
No.
If he is that type of coach, then Tennessee got one. If he's not, then I just feel like how Tennessee's doing it, they're going about it the right way. They really don't know what they have. And just from a pure football fan, unbiased, as much as we try to be unbiased, but yet, you know, still be Colts fans, I think that how Tennessee is going about it, big fan of how they're going about it and how they're doing it.
I'm going to disagree a little bit just because I don't know. I feel like they're just in another transitional year of just way too many questions. Like obviously we saw Derrick Henry leave out to Baltimore, and as Colts fans, we're all sick of playing the guy, but we also typically played well against him, so it's neither here nor there. Big zoom in there.
Yeah.
But I think they're looking at Tyjae Spears, I believe, as their starting running back. Really solid player in college out of Tulane. I love my Louisiana guys, but I don't know. I don't see it, man. I don't see him being the starting, 3 down back that
Tony Pollard.
Oh, they did get Tony Pollard. That's right. Okay, so it's probably still a 2-back system, but even then, I don't know. I don't love that attack. You talked about the weapons too. Look, DeAndre Hopkins has been incredible. We'd be lying if we said his best years were ahead of him. Like he's towards the end of his career, if not at it. And then Ridley is a great player, so I can't sit here and shut him. Ridley, the same thing. He's on the wrong side of 39.
They got Tyler Boyd. Like I said, they went old. They got Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
They got Ridley. They got Hopkins. Then they still have that young tight end, that Ochikwe dude, or whatever the heck.
He's a baller.
He's a baller.
I think they just call him Chig because I don't think anybody can say his name.
Yeah,
but he's a great player.
Yeah. So they got young. They have pieces, not everything, but I just like that they provided solid answers for a young quarterback. It's the quarterback's job to show that I can play in this league or I can't.
Sure. And look, if old Mayo Coffee goes out there and just balls out, then none of it matters, right? Like he did it, but I don't see that person. I feel like they're going to struggle a lot. But I do think though, what we as Colts fans can't sleep on is there's still going to be a tough out. You can't look at the old players and the inexperienced coach and what have you and be like, oh, we're going to dog walk them. That never happens in the AFC South. Even when one team is dog shit and one team is a contender, it is always a dog fight. I expect him to finish the year probably like 6-7 wins. A tough out, but just overall not a super competitive team as far as the playoffs go. I don't think they're in that conversation, but I think we'd be crazy to just discount them. And then same with Jacksonville. I think they're a little bit better. I think they're probably 8 or 9 win team. But same thing. They're going to be a tough out. Like those are probably the worst 2 teams in the division. But nobody's walking all over anybody in this division. It's going to be a dogfight across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like whether it says you're 2-15 or you're 15-2, like it doesn't matter. Like it's going to be a dogfight. So in that aspect, I agree completely.
Yeah, you see some teams like Kansas City is one of those lucky teams to have a division where they can just run shit, right? Like you very rarely see them lose to anybody in their division. Chargers might be competitive here and there. I think the Broncos got them once last year, but like they usually go like 4-2, 5-1 in their division. This is not one of those divisions. I think if we finish 4-2, that would be very encouraging, but I would not be surprised with the 3-3 split across the division. I could see it splitting with every single team.
Is Hopkins a Hall of Famer?
I think so. I think the criteria I look at is like if you have the statistics or if you can't tell the story of football without mentioning their name. And I think that's true for DeAndre Hopkins. I think he has great statistics, obviously. But for a long period there, he's been the best receiver in football for his generation or top 3. Bro, so I think he has a conversation. What do you mean? What he was one of the best guys.
What?
Where are you coming from?
Bro? Devontae Adams always been better than D-Hop every single year.
Oh, we'd have to sit and compare that. I don't know every single year.
Pretty much.
I don't know. I feel like they've been neck and neck.
To me, it's so hard because receiver is so saturated, especially in today's NFL.
Yeah.
I almost feel like he's going to get devalued at the Hall of Fame in an instant just because, like, there's still some dudes who still aren't in that need to be, like Reggie Wayne and Chad Ochocinco and Steve Smith,
when you put it like that, then I want to be like, he's not as good as those guys.
No, right. And that's the guys you got to put.
You're right. Yeah, it's a tough ask at wide receiver. There's just so many fucking guys. Right. And it's only going to become a bigger problem down the line because you're going to have guys like fucking Calvin Ridley, who have multiple years of 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, but he was never that guy.
I will say this. Calvin Johnson getting in first ballot did the receivers a whole lot of whole lot of favors, because I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't think Calvin Johnson deserved to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but yet somehow he got a first ballot Hall of Fame gig.
Well, and that's why I think too, like, I don't know what criteria they based the whole Hall of Fame conversation off of, because obviously Megatron did not have the longevity. He only played for a couple of years. But when he played for at least half of that time, if not the entire time, he was the best at his position.
Sure.
It's like, how do you measure it? You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have the statistics because he didn't play very long.
Right.
But the years he played, he was the best. So I don't know. It's a hard conversation.
I just don't think he's first ballot.
I agree. I don't think he should have gotten.
That's my argument. He's a Hall of Famer, but you can't tell me he's a first ballot over guys who did it longer and a higher level per se than Reggie, Chad Ochocinco, Steve Smith.
Honestly, like until those guys get in, the Hall of Fame is fake anyways. Like, what are we even talking about?
Right. I don't feel like it's a Hall of Fame anymore either. I feel like it's a Hall of Good.
Yeah. It's been devalued over the years, which is unfortunate, but it's the way things go, I guess. One guy we didn't mention that I wanted to talk about a little bit before we move off of the Titans, which make me a little sick to my stomach talking too much about Tennessee, so not a great thing. But they have a cornerback. Well, obviously he's a stud, but they have a cornerback, Roger McCreary, out of Auburn. Been playing a couple years now. Dude, this guy, like, one of the best. If you sit and watch his tape, I believe he's a top 10 corner in the league, and he doesn't get talked about.
Right?
He played. I think he's been able to play both. I've watched him play on the outside, and he does lock down there as well. Like, this guy's a dog. I don't know what the stats say. I just know what my uneducated eyes see, and I don't like playing against Roger McCreary. I watched him in college because I watch the Iron Bowl every year, even though I hate both Alabama and Auburn. I don't know why I do that, but he stood out to me. I was like, who the hell is this guy? And he was one of those prospects I latched onto way back then. And he's been proving it in the league since he got here, I believe 3-4 years ago. Roger McCreary is a weapon. And that entire secondary that Tennessee has is going to win them games that they probably don't deserve to win. So it's just something to look out for when we face Tennessee this year. That secondary is tough.
The whole team is. The whole team's gritty.
They might lose that dogfight in them, though.
They used to be. They probably might. They'll now probably be soft like Sharman with Callahan as head coach.
Yeah.
Here nor there.
Funny to see. Who else? Let's see. We talked about the Texans enough. Jags, I mean, other than Lawrence and their weapons, defensively, I don't know. I mean, obviously they have Josh Allen back there. He's a weapon. Who else do they have on defense? I feel like they're always decent on defense, but they don't really.
The Jags, they got Tavon Walker, dog, and Josh Allen. And,
but I'm not even worried about Tavon Walker until he does something.
They got Tyson Campbell, who only has good games versus the Colts.
Yeah, he's fucking annoying. He's literally the Trevor Lawrence of cornerbacks. Like they have like 5 players that don't do shit all year, and then when it comes to the Colts game, they suddenly light us up, dude. It's like, so irritating.
He, for whatever reason, can lock down any Colts receiver we have.
What did we do to him?
I have no clue. He's from Georgia.
We lose at their place 14 years straight. Like, they should love us. But I don't know.
It's just one of those teams. I truly feel like that's where I think Jacksonville's Achilles heel is defensively. Very much like Houston. If Jacksonville's defense comes to play this year, they're right back in that discussion for possible division winners.
Yeah.
Same thing with Houston. If their defense comes to play, then they're right back in it. I
feel like with the Jags, though, it's like if Josh Allen doesn't get you or cause the pressure that gets you, and you have more than 2-3 seconds, they're not good. I don't think they can cover, when Tyson Campbell plays against us. But like, it's really the pressure you have to worry about. I'm not so worried about their secondary. I feel like if we can get the time or create the blocking, we can piece them up.
I agree. But that's the thing. Colts haven't been able to do that for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just – it might be that ugly-ass teal. I don't know, whatever it is. But,
distracted, yeah.
Yeah. But the Colts just haven't had the ability to do it. So,
I would love – I don't even want to say it, man. I don't even want to say it, but there's a certain stadium in northern Florida that I would love to win one fucking game at. But I don't even want to bring it up because why? Why bother getting our hopes up for a
Like
win
I said,
in
bro,
that place?
5-1 in the division, and I really think we beat them in Florida this year, even though they beat us at home, dude.
No, dude, we could go 16-1, and they could be the worst team in the league, and we would still go into Jacksonville and lose.
Hey, that's
like 3-12.
You sound like Frank Wright when we lost 6-0. Like,
dude, it's exactly what it is, dude. We were on a tear that season. We were going to the playoffs with all the momentum in the world, and then we fucking 0-6. Dude, it's something about that stadium, man. We're cursed down there. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So, something about Indiana versus Jacksonville just makes Trevor Lawrence play like the prospect they say he is.
I mean, have you ever been to Jacksonville, dog?
Yeah. No, actually, that's what's fucked up too. Is like, it's a beautiful city, man. It's great, dude. They got a zoo over there. They got beaches. Like, it's a good time. I don't know, man. Jacksonville's actually a pretty dope city. I just hate their football team. We can't win a fucking game down there.
It's kind of your neck of the woods, so you know, figured I'd ask.
I don't know, man. Maybe that's the problem is they're going down there to the Jacksonville Zoo.
Hi, Stacey.
Hey, Stacey, welcome to the show. We're just shitting on Jacksonville over here and how we can't win a game in their stadium for some godforsaken reason. I don't know, man. I've said for the past like 4 years, basically ever since we've started this show, every year I'm like, hey, this is the year we're going to go into Jacksonville and get a win. I'm done. We're not doing it. We're never going to win in Jacksonville, and I don't care. I don't care anymore. We will never go 17-0 because we'll always lose in Jacksonville.
Hey, we should hang a banner if we win. Like,
I'd be down for that. I wouldn't even care, dude.
I know they crap on the Colts because we have AFC participant championship
game participant. That shit down, dude.
They hung up whatever year Irsay, I don't know if it was.
That's not still hanging, is it?
Oh yeah, it's still up.
That's got to go.
They don't take banners down. Are you kidding me?
No, it's got to go down.
Irsay won't let that happen, dog.
His daughter's got to talk some shit. That's got to come down. It's got to go.
It just depends on the Irsay you get. Is he sober Irsay or is he
having a good time?
Yeah, but I kind of feel like they should hang a banner if we actually go down and win in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it can be the ugliest Thursday night football game of all time. And I want a banner that says won in Jacksonville 3-2. Hey, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
And then 3-0. Like,
and I'll celebrate it, dude.
Championship.
Yeah. I don't even care. We can lose that year. We can not go to the playoffs. It doesn't matter. It's a success because we finally broke the curse. So we can finally just be a normal team that doesn't have these weird curses follow them.
I think we're just snake bitten. What up, Chad? Where you been, dog? It's been like decades, months, years. Hopefully you're doing well, my guy. Hopefully you're doing well.
Hey, you're late, bro. You're late, but that's all right, man. Good to see you, Chad. Yeah, I don't know. Just back to the division though. My official prediction is 3-3. I think we split every series. I think we deserve to go 2-0 against Tennessee. I just don't think we're going to.
Facts.
Hey, you would know, Chad. That's all you, brother.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about that, man. I've been married. Been married way too long to know what that's like.
Yeah. trying to stay that way, so I don't know anything about that, but
no, man. Like I said, I think 4-2 and 3-3 is hyper realistic. I really do. Selfishly, I want to go 5-1.
Yeah, of course.
I really want to go
lose in Jacksonville.
I have them beating us at home, and we finally beat them. This is the year we get the monkey off the back. Like, I think we start. That's how I want it to play out.
It'd be great.
Yeah, but
I'm so at the point where like I might not even watch that game because the definition of insanity is just doing the same thing and expecting different results. So, was it like 14 years straight now that we haven't won in Jacksonville? I just might not turn that one on, dude. I just might go ahead and try. I'll just take it as a bye week. Then it can't hurt you. You just act like it's not happening.
You know exactly what happens. You can't turn it off because you start thinking about it when you're not there. It's like me when I'm not over at my parents' house watching the game. I'm all on my phone. I got it on my phone.
What's the score?
And,
Let me see.
Yeah, and then they piss me off, and I flip it away, and like I go unload my dishwasher.
What do you
and
mean
I'm like,
Matt Ryan has
right.
3
I'm like,
interceptions?
what am I doing? Let me go turn it back on, and
Yeah,
I find myself sucked back into it.
Yep.
Like,
it's a curse, man. Snake bit, just like you said. Snake bit. Got to watch the Colts, even when we suck. We're not going to suck this year though, so it'll be actually fun to watch. Dude, I just need the season to arrive. We're in the middle of June now. No football in sight. Well, it's in sight, but it's still 2 months away.
you got a month out from training camp because I'm pretty sure the training camp starts like July 17th.
Something like that. But we're all going to be playing college football 25, so we're not even going to notice
Facts, dog. That game comes out in 30-something days. My old lady bought it for my birthday, which is Monday.
There you go.
She pre-ordered that for my birthday, and I was all like, hey, this week.
Nothing scheduled that week.
I'm taking vacation from work, and I'm like, don't call, don't text. Taylor, I love you. Make casseroles. I'll throw them in the oven. I'm not getting up from
this
my
is what
chair.
I'm doing.
This is yes.
For at least like 3 days.
Hey, I got that early access, so I'm gonna have that whole thing all. Yeah.
I'll be at school for that time, but I'm still gonna have my setup, dude. I'm still gonna be playing.
I bought a microphone just so I can get on there and baptize some kid in the triple option offense and be like, "This is."
You
what
don't know
happens.
how long we waited. You weren't there.
It's been a decade plus, dog. How do you like counter?
Yeah, you don't know what it's like to see QB number 2 on the back of your player's jersey. What do you mean they have names now?
Yeah, it's been a decade.
It's gonna be a great time, man.
Can't wait.
But yeah, we'll binge play that for a while, all of us football fanatics, and then before you know it, the season will be here, and we'll have more to talk about than just the hatred for Jacksonville and more training camp shit.
The first preseason game, I don't even get to watch. I won't even watch it. It's my daughter's birthday that weekend.
So, I mean, yeah, that's better anyways. Preseason,
so, yeah, I'll kick it with my daughter and the wifey and have a birthday celebration and do all that. And I don't typically watch preseason anyway.
Nah.
I literally rely on you and DeMarco for all
I kind of
preseason updates.
That's one of those, I tune in, I'll have it on the background, but I'm not sitting there, religiously watching. I just kind of wait and see if anyone kind of sticks out. But usually, at least with the NFL, 9 times out of 10, you have a pretty good idea of the roster before preseason. So it's really just like you look at like special teams guys, maybe that 5th wide receiver, someone can try to make a name for themselves if there's still a position battle. But honestly, maybe outside of like tight end, I don't know of any positions that are really looking to be won and lost given preseason performance. You know what I mean? At least offensively.
I feel like outside of the first 2 weeks of training camp, you pretty much know who's going to be on the team. At least the players do. Usually you figure like players get it figured out quick. Hey, he's going to be on the squad. This dude's good. This dude's a bum. This dude, this or that. Like, I feel like players would probably know more than coaches, but at the same time, like you hear those stories like, yo, hey, this guy was going to make the team and why the Colts cut him or why so-and-so got cut, who knows? So I agree with that. Like,
it's also like, it's a good problem to have though. Like if you're overly interested in preseason because you're worried about position battles, that probably means you have a lot of question marks and like guys who suck and like your team probably isn't very good. So it's I feel like it's a good thing to not really be worried about preseason because you already know who's starting for the most part. You know what I mean? Like that's a good problem to have.
I don't know because who's going to be – I feel like we have major questions in preseason about backup, who's going to be Jonathan Taylor's backup. Bro, we have no – outside of 2 guys, we have no backup offensive linemen. We have 2 rookie offensive linemen.
Oh, I got to disagree here. I like our backups.
Hambright, I mean, I feel like that's – to me, I feel like offensive line, corner, just because I want to see how that shakes out, and receiver are our biggest preseason position battles.
Sure.
Oh, and Damon's favorite player.
Who's that?
Got hurt last year. We missed him. Austin, what's his name? Oh, I'm losing my mind.
Is he a safety, a cornerback?
No, receiver. Made the team. We always pick him never to make the team
God
every
damn
year.
it. Ashton Doolin.
That's Doolin.
Yeah.
We always pick him to get cut, and he always makes the
he's
team
on the team
every
dude.
year, dog.
How? I don't even want to say it. Because
How?
if I say he's on the team, this is going to be the year he gets cut. So
where's he going to play though?
He's got a spot. This is how I see it. And I mean,
you drafted that rookie. You got Downs who returns kicks.
No, Gould's going to be returning, or Gould, or however you say his name.
Gould, but Doolin ain't making the squad.
I disagree. You got to keep him because he's like number 6. There's no way we can go into the season with just 5 guys that feel good about it. That's the position we were in last year with like 4 guys.
You don't think there's going to be a receiver out there who's better than Ashton Doolin?
No, he's not going to be better than anyone, but you need him. You need him for depth. We saw that. We see that every year where you go, well, he's not a starter, so he shouldn't be on the team. But then someone goes down, and now you suddenly, oh, shit, I need him, but you don't have him. Like, there's no way. There's no way you can go into this season, as important as it is, with only 5 receivers and feel good about it. To me, like, he's probably the bottom of that depth chart, but you need him. You need him on the team. Especially, like, even if no one gets injured, late in the year, you want to have the opportunity to say, hey, this drive, we're going to roll Doolin out there, give Pittman a break or give fucking Downs a break, whatever, just to keep guys a little healthy and have that rotation. It's the same thing we do defensively. There's room to do that with your weapons. It's just a little bit less so. But, yeah, absolutely. You got to have 6 receivers on this roster, I think.
That means one of our 1,000 tight end is getting cut. Is this year that Mo finally gets cut?
I don't think so. He's probably going to be on the team just because he's a veteran. He's got equity with the team and he's good blocking.
Damn.
But I think somebody's getting cut tight end wise. But that's fine. We don't need we had this weird balance last year where we had 5 fucking tight ends and 5 wide receivers. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. I think we had 6 at one point. It doesn't make any sense. You need 3, maybe 4 tight ends if your scheme relies on that. I could see us carrying 4. But I don't think we need 4. I think we'd be fine with 3.
I think we'd be fine with 3. I just don't want one of those other 3 that are super athletic, to get let go when you have a glorified fullback.
Yeah, and that's kind of
crazy money.
Yeah, that's kind of the question there of who you cut, because they've all done something, but none of them have proven themselves. But that's an endless debate of who you cut, who you keep. But I really don't want more than 3. If we have 4, whatever, but you can't take from the wide receivers to feed the tight end room. That doesn't make any sense.
Are you keeping 6 DBs, not including safety? I'm talking corners. So are you keeping 6 corners on this roster?
Let's see. We got Jones. We got Juju. We got
Kenny.
Kenny, obviously. Well, yeah, Kenny's a given. What's his name?
Samson the rookie.
Samson the rookie, or Simpson, whatever. Dallas Flowers, that's 5.
Flowers.
I'm okay with 5 cornerbacks. Yeah, I think you could roll with 5. I think you can roll with 5.
I would much rather roll with 6 DBs than I would 6 receivers. Because I really feel like, especially with how versatile our tight ends are, I really feel like you can get away with it because Ogletree's hyper athletic. Granson, he's hyper athletic,
good hands,
really good.
Almost a wide receiver himself, yeah.
Right. So
I get it.
I really feel like you could technically keep 4 tight ends and still be okay, and use that extra man on the defensive side of the ball where depth has been so thin because dudes be getting hurt left and right all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish we had a bigger name or someone I trusted more in the cornerback room to where I could be yeah, let's keep 6 there. Because right now I don't really feel like we have that guy. I get what you're saying. It's where you place that priority. I just don't want to run into another situation of who the fuck do we have at wide receiver outside of Pittman? You know what I mean? And we're not in that situation anymore.
No.
I don't want to risk that with injury wise. That's why I'd say I want to roll with 6. But no matter what, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So whatever you take away from to supply somewhere else, that's now an issue in that position. So it's luckily, it's not any of our job. It's fucking Chris Ballard and the coaches that have to figure out how they want to organize those rooms. But to me, I'd take from tight ends, like I said earlier, I would roll with 3 this season, 4 maximum, and see where that leaves as far as making the 53 cuts. But yeah, I think Dulin has a place on this roster. I think he could be involved in special teams, especially with how the new return looks. I was watching one video that was really breaking it down. They were talking about like you could see teams running plays essentially on special teams and having 2 receivers back, potentially playing some kind of lateral game, setting up blocks or whatever. I think Dulin could do really well back there alongside Anthony Gould, I believe his name is.
Yeah. Is he fast enough though? Because I feel like
because of his injury.
Right. I feel like how they've set up this return game, it's more it benefits guys who are faster rather than quick. So, like maybe, but then the counterpoint to that too, and this is why, dude, I'm a special teams nerd. This is going to be so interesting for me next season. But now the counterpoint is if you just roll out speed guys and hands guys, what if the defense or the team kicking off just rolls out linebackers, tight ends, like guys that are going to run you the fuck over as long as they have it set up right? Then they can smack you way back before you even get anything going. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all chess match back there. It's going to be really interesting to watch. Right. One last thing before we hop off here. What does Ballard do at safety? Because Daniel Scott can't stay healthy. I mean, what does he do? Does he do what signature Ballard does? We like the guys we have, or does he finally go out and get the Quadri Diggs, the Simmons kid that played for Denver?
Justin Simmons,
yeah, Justin Simmons. Does he go out and say, hey, Stephon Gilmore, you want to come back and play safety for us? Like, what does the man do? Because to me, that's the only question mark left on this roster that doesn't have an in-house answer. Yeah, I do think if I remember right, the Daniel Scott injury happened since our last show, so we haven't even addressed it. Obviously, fucking super unfortunate, dude. Like, this guy just can't catch a break. Probably going to miss the entire season. And who knows where that leaves him? 2 full seasons, not a single snap. It's not a good look. No. So you feel for the guy, but like that's a shitty situation, man. Like what are you supposed to do with that? I don't know. Hopefully it all works out for him personally. As far as the room goes, look, we've known Ballard long enough. I don't think there's any signings to be made. I think we would all love to hop on Madden and sign Quandre Diggs right now. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we go into the season with Rodney Thomas as the starter and hope that he's learned his lessons. And we talked about it in our last episode of how that's going to look. Some of us are more optimistic than others. I think that's what we're looking at. I don't see us making any kind of signing because we're at the point now where like camps are starting, workouts are starting. They're starting to do everything they need to do. Like obviously a vet can still come in and figure that shit out. But to me, if he didn't make the signing a month ago, the only thing that could potentially change his mind is the Scott injury, but I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it making any kind of moves now. Like, I think this is what we're working with outside of like a practice squad guy here and there or whatever. I don't see any big names coming to the team anymore. I just don't. No, I would agree, but I also think that it's kind of unfortunate because, in my opinion, you can never have too much depth, and it's the one area on defense that, like Ballard has neglected it. Or he drafts safeties and then turns them into linebackers. So, I can't really say he's neglected because he has gotten guys. He's got Nick Cross. He's got Ronnie Thomas. He got Blackman. It's just only one of those guys has worked out. Right. Like he's been bringing people in. It's just they're not fucking doing what they need to do. Obviously, we did get that safety / linebacker. DeMarco's going to kill me. I can't think of his name, but I know DeMarco's speak on the guy. Charlize. Yeah, so I don't know if he can play. I don't know. To me, he's more of like we talked about before, like a Ronnie Harrison type of guy where he kind of comes down and supports the run game. Maybe he sees some snaps back there because of the injury. I don't know. But yeah, to me, it's Rodney Thomas at this point, and you hope that he's more like his rookie season and less like last year. That's kind of where we're at, I think. I mean, Richardson played safety in high school. Do you ask him to play safety too? Iron Man type shit. Just play on both sides of the ball, dude. Yeah.
I know that used to be an option in NCAA 14. So maybe with the new game coming out, he's inspired and he just plays both sides of the ball. But no, I think we're just going to see a lot of deep balls thrown for touchdowns. Unfortunately,
hope not. If that's the case, Colts trade up and draft Travis Hunter next year.
Dude, I don't know if I want anybody from Colorado after all the shit that they do, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, man, I think right now it's Rodney Thomas, and we're just hoping he's learned his lessons. And I mean, we've said it before, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but like he does have the playmaking ability as long as he's in the right zone. It's like those mental lapses and lacks of communication that set him up for failure last year, and like lack of chemistry, I guess, with the cornerback room. He has the ability, the on-ball ability to get picks, to get pass deflections, and to cover a guy, but he's got to figure out whatever his issues were last year. And, hopefully he has them. I really do think at this point we're just hoping for the best back there.
Yeah. I feel like he's not a young player anymore. He's a veteran now. It's time for him to either
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, it's time for him to either now be a vet, act like a vet and do vet things, or get replaced and find a guy who plays like a vet and is a vet and does vet things at an impact level.
I mean, it literally does play out like that to me. Like by year 3, you make all the decisions of, are you a second contract guy or are you a washout after your rookie contract? And like the average NFL lifespan is like 3-4 years,
3 years.
So it's tough. It's hard to do, right? Like this is not a fucking guarantee by any means. And the guy was a 7th round pick. So realistically, he's already outplayed expectations. But it's just the fact that we've seen the ability from him. We need that. We need to get more of that. If you're ever going to be anything in the league, this is the year to prove it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, boss. Any final thoughts, anything like that before we sign off?
Just ready for the season, man. Hopefully we'll have the full crew on next week, or as many guys as we can get. Obviously, summer's a very busy time, but looking forward to talking more Colts football as we get closer to the season, man.
I concur. I agree. Hey, tomorrow's Father's Day. Shout out to all you dads out there.
Yes, happy Father's Day, everybody.
Enjoy it with your dads, your kids, all that. I want to shout out my pops. Happy Father's Day, pops. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. And
thanks for commenting.
God bless.
Go Colts.